Hey friends, Sleepy here, and welcome to a brand new episode of my weekly playlist series. We've made it to another Friday, which means it's time for me to share with you guys the games I have been playing during the week. Give you guys my thoughts and opinions on these games, whether I think you guys should check them out or not. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on the games I share with you. I'd also like to hear about the games you guys are playing, as that gives me really good ideas of games to check out. And you guys have talked about some really good games and has piqued my interest in quite a few titles. I also appreciate anybody who gives me any recommendations, as you guys have also given me some great recommendations on games, and some of them I've actually played on your guys' recommendations. Others, I actually have a growing list of games to eventually check out. Some I own, some I don't, so I do have a list of games to eventually buy. So if you guys have any suggestions on games, I really appreciate those, as that's really come in handy as I'm discovering new games that I never got to play before. So it's awesome. This has been a couple weeks since my last weekly playlist video, and that's because I injured my thumb at work on our big safe, closed the door and caught it on there, and busted my tip of my thumb open, and I had to get stitches in, and it took 12 days to get the stitches out. And just finally this week, I've actually been able to use my thumb to play games, because I wasn't supposed to use my thumb for 10 days, the doctor's orders. So I didn't play any games the last couple of weeks. And then this week I finally got into playing games. And there's one game I want to share with you guys this week, as I've really put a lot of time into it and beating it. And that was Alan Wake, the remastered version, which I got the very last copy they had at GameStop. This is actually their display copy. It was the only copy they got in for Xbox One. They also got this for PS4. And the only other copies they got in were for pre-order bonuses. Now, what's great, as you can see, this is only $29.99, brand new price for it, and it's a remaster of the old Xbox 360 one, because originally Alan Wake was an Xbox 360 exclusive, but now they have it on the PlayStation 4. It's also compatible with PlayStation 5. It's also compatible with Xbox Series X, and it was also on the PC, and now you can get the remastered version on the PC. And they do upgrade the visuals to the game, but everything else is left the same. The story's the exact same, the content's the same, the walkthroughs, the collectibles, everything is the same except for the visuals, which got a nice upgrade to it, which is awesome. Another cool thing is this does include both of the DLCs that you had to buy separately for the 360 version. Special one, the Signal, and Special 2, the Writer. Both of those were included in this remastered version, where you don't have to go out and buy them on the marketplace, where you did have to buy them on the 360 version. So that's really cool, having the two DLCs in this game. Now, I have beat this game several times on the 360, and I have finally beat it here on Xbox One. I just started playing it this week, and I just plowed through and beat all 6 episodes. So the main game has 6 episodes, and then there's 2 DLCs for a total of 8. And each episode is fairly long. It's about an hour, a couple hours to beat each one, depending on how good you are at the game and your difficulty level, because you can start on easy, normal, and then there is a nightmare difficulty, which is a super hard difficulty, but you don't unlock that until you actually beat the game, which I did beat the game, and then I'm going to eventually go through again and beat this on nightmare mode. But I absolutely love Alan Wake. It's one of my favorite games for the 360, and it's a really good game to play as a horror, because it's a horror game. And we're here in the month of October. We're getting closer to Halloween, and anytime in October, I like to play Silent Hills and Dead Space. I like to play horror games when we get close to Halloween. And so I was really excited to play this one. And this actually just came out October 5th. And I do recommend, if you want to get a physical copy, I would pick it up now rather than later, because it's going to be kind of tough to find a copy, as this is a really small print run. All the other GameStops in the area are now sold out of copies. Best Buy doesn't have any, Target, Walmart, all of them you can only get online. And then, of course, there's a few copies on eBay, but not a whole lot. So I would definitely keep an eye out for a copy of this if you want to get it physical for your collection, as it's an awesome game, and it's only $30. You can get it digitally, of course, but I prefer to have my physical one. So read you guys a little bit of info on the back. So the horror story is coming true. In this award-winning cinematic action thriller, troubled author Alan Wake embarks on a desperate search for his missing wife Alice, as he discovers pages of a horror story he has supposedly written. Wake's grip on reality is threatened as he confronts the darkness closing in. All new remastered 4K visual, enhanced cutscenes, and more. So, like I said, they really enhanced the old Xbox 360 version, which is compatible on Xbox One and Xbox Series X2 backwards compatibility. It does upgrade the graphics, but this one really does upgrade the visuals over that old 360 port and gives the game a whole fresh new coat of paint. And of course, like I said, having it for PlayStation 4, Sony PlayStation players can finally experience Alan Wake if they didn't own an Xbox 360. So I think that's really great, as it's expanding out the story into the hands of more gamers. And I'm really hoping that if this sells really well, that they'll decide to make an Alan Wake 2. Is something that I've always wanted, a true sequel to this game, and hopefully that this remastered will sell enough that they'll see that there's enough people who want it, and they will release a sequel to it. So what I really like about this game is that it has a different take on the horror series, as it's not just your traditional, fighting monsters and creatures. This, you're actually fighting what's called the darkness. It's this dark force that is the main enemy that Alan Wake has to battle, and that dark force uses different kinds of enemies to attack you. Like, they have these guys called the Taken, which are humans who have been taken over by the darkness. And once you've been taken over by the darkness, there's no saving the person. They've gone insane, and they're taken over by the darkness. So the only thing you can do is dispatch them. And in order to do that, you have to use weapons against them. However, they do have a special ability about them, is they're actually shrouded by darkness that's like a little shield around them. In order to do that, you have to burn it off. And so how do you combat dark? You use light. And so in the game, Alan Wake has access to different kinds of flashlights, and you actually can use that to burn the darkness off Taken, and then you can kill them with weapons. And you have a variety of guns to choose from. You've got a revolver, you've got a shotgun, you've got a hunting rifle, you've got a pump action shotgun, and you've also got flare guns. You also have flares, and you have flashbangs. So it's really cool having a variety of weapons to fight the darkness. And they have more than just Taken. You fight the human creatures. They also have where it takes over animals like birds and sends waves of birds to attack you, but it also can possess objects. You have poltergeists to fight as well, where they can take over like a train and throw it at you, or they can pick up barrels and stuff and throw it at you, and you have to actually burn those away and destroy them by using light sources. So he has a variety of different flashlights. You start out with a real basic one, and they are powered by batteries, and you have a little meter as you can hold down the trigger, and it'll actually focus the beam on the enemies more. But as you do that, it drains the battery, and if the battery gets completely drained, the battery will shut off, or the flashlight will shut off. But you can insert a fresh new battery into it, and you can keep the beam going, and you want to use that in certain tight situations and stuff. And you'll find batteries and stuff throughout the world. You also find ammo, and you find other items that you'll be using throughout the world that are spread all over the game world. Now, this game isn't like an open world or anything. It's a linear story. You go from point A to point B, and you follow through the story narrative, because this is a really heavily story focused game. But it's a really fun game. Has an amazing story, and it just keeps you hooked. And like for me, I was just hooked this whole week, and I kept playing it every day until I beat it. And then I just recently, here about a half hour ago, so it's like 3 in the morning now, I just beat the first of the 2 DLCs, which earlier this year I beat the 2 DLCs on the 360 version just to get myself back into playing Alan Wake, and it just really got me in the mood. I'm like, man, I want to play through that main story again. So that's what I did, and I had a lot of fun with it. This game has great visuals, like I said, since they've been remastered. They just look amazing on my Xbox One X, and I don't even have a 4K TV, so I can imagine just how great it looks when you have a 4K TV, maxed out settings and everything. The voice acting is phenomenal in this. All the characters are memorable. All the different characters you'll run into are just great, and they're characters that you actually, care about, and are just overall really cool characters that I really enjoy. And the story is done really well. The music is awesome. There's atmospheric music. There's some other cool rock music and stuff. Original music created just for this game. Like the music in it is just phenomenal. Just absolutely love it. And you actually can listen to the soundtrack in the extras section if you want to. If you had bought the old collector's edition when the 360 came out, it actually came with the soundtrack, which is really cool because there's a few really cool songs in this game that I love, and just all kinds of really cool gimmicks and stuff with fighting the enemies. Sometimes you have other things to use too besides just your flashlight. You have other sources of light where you'll run into like street lights and other and lamps and things like that. And a lot of those light sources actually serve as checkpoints, because when you reach them, you create a checkpoint. And another thing too is when Alan Wake is in the light, he actually heals. So you have auto regenerating health. There's no health packs or anything. And when you get to a light source, your health will heal really quickly. However, if you just stand still, or when you're walking around, Alan will regenerate his health. Another thing that's really cool is when you're fighting the taken enemies, is if you hit the run button just as they're about to attack you, you'll actually slow down time and you'll actually dodge their attacks. Now, one thing that a lot of people notice, like myself, is that Alan Wake has really shitty stamina, and he can only run for a real short time, and then he gets tired out. But one thing I found as a trick for you guys, if you're trying to run from enemies, is to jump. He actually moves a little quicker than he does just with his normal like jogging without the running, and I found that I can escape from enemies sometimes that way. There's some difficult spots, here and there, but overall, once you get used to how to play the game and its mechanics and stuff, you can master it like I did, and you can actually kind of breeze through the game. I beat through here on normal, the story, and then I beat the main game, and then I beat the first DLC. Now there is a nightmare mode, which I did beat originally on the 360, which I do plan to eventually go through. I'm actually going to this next week work on beating the second DLC, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to want to go back again right now and play the main story through nightmare mode, or maybe I'll just save it for the future. But I definitely think you guys should check out Alan Wake. It's an awesome psychological thriller horror game. Great game to play since we're here in October. We're so close to Halloween. It's a game I think you guys should check out, especially if you missed it on the 360. It's on PS4, PS5. It's on the Xbox One X, Xbox Series X. It's on PC. So there's multiple ways to enjoy Alan Wake. Like I said, it's only $30. You can get it digitally. If you want to get it physically, definitely recommend getting it now rather than later, as it's had a very small print run. And I'm glad that I got it, because I got the only copy for Xbox One that my GameStop have. They have one left now for PS4, but this is the only copy they got. And the only other ones they had were for a couple people who pre-ordered it, and that was not many. But definitely check out Alan Wake. Awesome game. Normally I would do a little recap here, but I only have one game to share with you guys this week, and it's Alan Wake. Like I said, it's awesome. You play as Alan Wake. You're a writer. You're going through the story trying to save your wife Alice from the darkness force, and you have to fight your way through. And he's a writer, and he's actually able to manipulate reality and stuff with his writing, which I don't want to go into too much detail because the whole story is focused on that, and you guys know I don't like to ruin story. But definitely check out Alan Wake. It is an amazing game, and you have multiple consoles you can enjoy it on. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts, you guys, if you played Alan Wake before. If you haven't played it, I'd like to hear about the games you guys are playing recently, and if you guys have any recommendations on a game you think I should check out, let me know, as you guys always do recommend really good games. I want to thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day, and Sleepy will see you next time.